Hello, I am Carmen and welcome to this week's episode of Cooking with Carmen. As part of our mission to heal hunger, Operation Food Search teaches families how to cook delicious food on a budget. Thank you for joining for episode 14. Today's show will be highlighting a program at Operation Food Search called Operation Backpack. I'll also be preparing 2 quick, easy, family-friendly meals using all shelf-stable ingredients. As you can see, I'm in my home kitchen, and I wanted to show that you don't need any fancy equipment to make these delicious recipes. To talk about Operation Backpack, I have a guest on the show with me today. Brooklyn Abbott is the Child Nutrition Program Coordinator for our Operation Backpack program. In 2017, Brooklyn obtained a master's degree in public health from Mizzou. And in 2018, Brooklyn joined the Operation Food Search family. And through our child nutrition programs, she works to break down the barriers that lead to food insecurity in children in the St. Louis region. We're so grateful to have her on the show today. Welcome, Brooklyn.
Hi, Carmen. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here today.
So today we're highlighting the Operation Backpack program. Can you share with our viewers an overview of the program?
Of course. Well, the Operation Backpack program decreases the burden of childhood hunger throughout the St. Louis bi-state region by providing weekend meals for children during the school year. In our region, over 125,000 children, nearly 1 in 5, face food insecurity, not knowing where their next meal will come from when out of school. Since nutrition affects cognitive, social, and emotional development, children who don't have adequate nutritious foods are more likely to have problems learning, growing, and interacting. Operation Backpack helps to ensure that children who rely on free or reduced lunches continue to receive proper nutrition vital to their growth and development. So on Fridays, or the last day of school before a holiday break, over 8,100 participating children across 54 bi-state school districts receive a backpack full of nutritious, easy-to-prepare foods. Children return the empty backpack to school on Monday to be refilled, and the cycle continues.
So many families and children rely on those free and reduced lunches during the week. So I love that this program fills the need for nutritious and filling food over the weekend. And it's often a need that a lot of people don't even know about. So can you share some examples of food that the students receive each weekend?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, on the first 3 weekends of the month, we try to focus on kid-friendly or easy-to-prepare foods. A typical backpack will include 2 protein-rich entrees, a can of fruit, a can of vegetables, a snack, and 2 breakfast items, which are typically whole grain bowls of cereal. Our ultimate goal is to provide foods that kids want to eat, but are also nutrient-rich, so they're not just empty calories. On the last weekend of every month, our bags do look a bit different. We shift our focus from the individual child and provide a complete recipe to feed a family of 4. Each month, we provide a different recipe, complete with a recipe card, developed in collaboration with the Nutrition Education Team.
It's always a lot of fun when our teams get to collaborate. So today we're going to showcase 2 of those family meal recipes that the participants in our backpack program receive. So we're going to make the lemon pepper tuna rice bowl and the taco soup. So I make sure I have all my ingredients here. Can you share some of the limitations that you had to consider when developing these recipes?
Yeah, so because our program requires that we use only shelf-stable ingredients, we wanted to ensure that our recipes didn't sacrifice flavor. We also know that these meals are likely to be prepared by busy parents, so we wanted to keep them quick and as easy as possible.
Thanks, Brooklyn. So I love that these recipes are all using canned goods that I almost always have on hand in my pantry. So let's get cooking. So our first recipe is the taco soup, and I'm going to make sure I have all of our ingredients. So we have a can of pinto beans, a can of chicken, a can of diced tomatoes, a can of mild enchilada sauce, and a can of corn. So basically all we have to do is dump all these ingredients into a pot and heat it up. So I'm going to go ahead and get started here. I got my pot, got my can opener, and what's nice is if you have an older kid that can use a can opener, this is a great way to get them helping in the kitchen, especially one of those easy to use can openers. So our first ingredient is the can of pinto beans, and mine is the no salt added version. If you are using regular canned beans that has salt added, you can actually rinse the beans in your colander to remove up to 40% of the extra sodium that's found in the bean itself. So we're gonna add our beans in. And what's nice about beans too is that it is a great source of protein, but it's also a vegetable. So you get a lot of those nutrients, a lot of the fiber that's found in vegetables. And it also is a source of protein. So it's kind of like the best of both worlds, protein and veggies. So next is our can of chicken. And I always tell people this is such an underrated ingredient. It's pre-cooked, ready to eat, and it shreds really nicely. So I like using it in a lot of soups. And I also like making like buffalo chicken dip with it or chicken salad with it. Because again, it shreds really nice and quickly. And I dump some of the juices on the counter. So normally I would do this over the sink, so I'm not making a big mess. All right, in goes our chicken. Our next ingredient is the diced tomatoes with green chilies, which I actually did not have, so I'm just using a regular can of diced tomatoes. And you leave the juices with this can because the tomato flavor is really great in this recipe. So you don't drain your tomatoes. And if you like the extra little bit of heat, the green tomatoes and the green chilies and the tomato combination is a really good addition. Our next is our can of enchilada sauce. So that's what's giving this soup the taco flavor because this sauce has all those great flavors built in and it has that tomato base. So again, it's a very tomato-y soup. So in goes our sauce. And then our last ingredient is a can of corn. And again, we're going to drain this as well. And if you don't have the no salt added, again, rinsing the corn is a great way to remove some of that extra salt. So you might be thinking this recipe is packed full of canned foods. Like, how is it that healthy? So the government guidelines recommend that for healthy eating, that Americans consume at least half of their plate each day or each meal with fruits and vegetables. But only 1 in 10 Americans eat enough fruits and vegetables. So what's nice about canned foods is that it's an easy way to sneak in that extra produce that you have because it's shelf stable, keeps for a long time, and there's a lot of nutrients in there. So what's nice is that there's really not a best form of produce. So fresh, frozen, canned all have very similar nutrients. The only thing with canned is that they are cooked as part of the canning process. So some of those water-soluble nutrients might be broken down. But what's interesting is that some vitamins are actually increased during that canning process. So for example, tomatoes, cooked tomatoes or like canned tomatoes have more lycopene than fresh tomatoes. So I love using canned tomatoes in a lot of recipes. And again, the longer shelf life means you're not having food waste because it's not going bad in your fridge or on your counter, and you can simply add it to recipes any way you can. So we often keep frozen vegetables on hand and canned vegetables, especially canned beans and canned tomatoes. Those are staples in our house. So the last ingredient, or the last step, is to add in 1.25 cups of water because this will help make it more soup-like. If you like your soup thicker, you can use less water. If you like your soup thinner, use more water. It's really up to you. All right, so we have our soup ready to go here. We're gonna get it on the stove, and basically you just heat it up. So all of the ingredients are pre-cooked. So you just wanna get it cooking up on your stove. So while that comes up to a boil or a simmer, we'll get started on our second recipe, which is the lemon pepper tuna rice bowl. So the ingredients for this are 2 cups of instant brown rice, a can of peas, a can of white beans or great northern beans, and 2 pouches of the lemon pepper tuna. All right, so let's get started. The first step in the directions is to cook the brown rice. So you take 2 cups of your brown rice and your can of chicken broth and a little bit of water, so about 1/4 cup of water, and you bring the chicken broth and the water to a boil on the stove. And once that comes to a boil, you add in your 2 cups of brown rice, and you turn the heat to low, cover it with a lid or even a piece of foil, and you let it simmer for 10 minutes or until the rice is cooked and all the water is absorbed. So I did that in advance because it takes 10 minutes, and I didn't think you guys would want to watch water boil or chicken broth boil. So I have it cooked and ready to go here. So I have the rice cooked. The chicken broth adds a lot of great flavor to this rice, but you can just cook it with water if you don't have chicken broth. And if you want it vegetarian, you can cook it with vegetable broth. So the next steps are to open up our canned goods. Got cans all over here. It'll be good for recycling day. All right, so we have our Great Northern beans or white beans, and we are simply going to open this and drain it. And again, those beans packed full of fiber and nutrients are a great source of protein and a vegetable. So we're draining our beans. And if you don't have the low sodium, be sure to rinse it under cold running water. All right, into our rice here. And then we have a can of peas. And again, we're gonna drain them. You can also use frozen peas in this step. So I would add the peas if you're using frozen while the rice is still simmering for the last few minutes of the cooking process, just so your peas aren't raw or frozen still. So you just add them as part of the cooking process. It's very simple. All right, in goes our peas. And like how I mentioned earlier too, that some vegetables actually have more nutrients after being cooked in the canning process. Peas is another example of that. Actually has up to 3 times more vitamin A than compared to raw peas. So still a healthy option. All right, and our last ingredient is the lemon pepper tuna. So I love keeping these on hand. They are, you don't need to drain them. You can simply open the pouch and eat it right out of the pouch. And having the flavors is a really nice way to add some fun protein source to a salad, or I'll just eat it on crackers. Maybe mix it with a little bit of mayonnaise and put it on some cucumber rounds. Very simple. And there's a ton of different flavors like Cajun, and if you like a little spice, they have like sriracha flavored and stuff. Pretty fun. And again, this is an easy way to get fish into your diet. So the dietary guidelines do recommend about 8 ounces of seafood a week, and especially the fatty, heart-healthy seafoods like salmon and trout, but also tuna. So the fattier fishes are packed full of omega-3 fatty acids, which are great for heart health and brain boosting. So now we have our tuna in here, and all you do is stir to combine. And if you'd like, you can put it back on the stove and heat it up a little. But again, this rice was hot still, so it's heating up everything nicely in here. All right, so we have our lemon pepper tuna rice all ready to go. So put it in a bowl here. And frozen peas would add a little more color because the canned peas are the cooked, but still very healthy, full of nutrients, and it smells really good with the lemon pepper. You don't need any other seasoning in there. All right, so that's one. And then our next one is the taco soup. So I'm gonna give it a stir here. It has a nice simmer going. So you can let it simmer for as long as you want. But again, everything's cooked, so it really doesn't need to come to a boil for any certain amount of time. It's basically just heating it up. All right, so I'm gonna turn it off and add it to my bowl here. And this is a very easy weeknight meal, simple to throw together, and it smells really good with that enchilada sauce. Yum. And then you can garnish this with whatever you like. So actually I have on hand here some shredded cheese and some sour cream, but like avocado or a little dollop of salsa would be really good in here as well. So I'll do a dollop of sour cream. So I am a sour cream fan. All right, so here are our 2 recipes. Very quick and easy, simple to make. And it's great for those busy weeknights. So delicious and super quick to make. Welcome back, Brooklyn.
Carmen, the recipes look amazingly delicious.
And it smells so good in here too, because I can smell the lemon pepper from the tuna bowl, and I smell the taco soup. It's kind of like a weird mixture of flavors, but it smells incredible. And what's all over here, soup is a very staple in our dinner rotations, and they came together so fast that it's really going to be like a great weeknight meal. So I love that you can offer the food for the entire family. When did you make that switch and why?
Yeah, so we actually shifted into doing sporadic family type meals probably about 3 years ago, just to kind of test the waters and also add variety to our offerings. Surveys from school social workers showed that families provided a lot of positive feedback regarding these meals, so we wanted to make sure that we were consistently incorporating them into our Operation Backpack offerings.
That's great. Well, and with such positive feedback, why didn't you use family meals every weekend?
That's a great question. So Operation Backpack's main focus is on the child. So while we love being able to provide for the entire family once a month, we also just want to make sure that we're supplying food that children as young as 5 years old have the ability to easily open and prepare for the majority of the time.
That is definitely understandable. So with COVID and the pandemic happening, we've all had to pivot in one way or another. How has Operation Backpack had a shift when learning is being conducted virtually now?
Yes, so we actually just kicked off the 2020 school year this week, and each participating school has a different distribution method that is tailored to their needs. So some schools are distributing with their school lunches, and others are distributing to students who are learning virtual, but are in school for tutoring. So we're just so thankful that our schools, our partners, are advocates for healing hunger and are willing to adapt during these crazy times.
That is really great to hear. And thank you so much for being on the show today. It was very informative, and I even learned some information about Operation Backpack.
Well, thank you for having me, Carmen. It was a lot of fun today.
So I hope you enjoyed today's show and learned a lot about our wonderful program, Operation Backpack. Remember to like our page if you haven't already, and comment below if you have any questions or if you made today's super fast and simple recipes. Visit our website to learn more about our work and also learn more about the Operation Backpack program. I'll see you in 2 weeks for our next episode. Stay healthy and happy Wednesday.